Hey,
Tony.
Daniel, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
No worries.
Thanks for coming by.
So I think we were just kind of looking at some of the numbers, getting a high level of like what you guys are doing. I just wanted to see like how I could be the biggest impact. I like to lead by value first. So kind of seeing what you guys are doing. I know that just had the blended spend. Do you guys have that split per?
We don't. We've asked Wildfire to give us this is an actual combined spend.
Mm-hmm.
We know the Google spend, but we've asked that third party for the Meta spend, so we should have that in the next day or so.
For me, with any marketing campaign, same with sales, I mean, data is the most important thing. So what's not being tracked, like we can't improve on it. So for me, all my campaigns, we're going to have clear data on Meta, we're going to have clear data on Facebook or on Google, on TikTok, what are their campaigns we're going to do. And then, for the sales process, which it seemed like that seems to be the issue because you guys are getting leads, you guys are spending, you're getting the exposure, but you're not converting enough of those to make sense. So we're really wanting to focus our sales on really the desire, the pain, and the emotions of these customers, right? They're clicking on an ad, it's invoking some form of desire, some form of pain or problem that they have, and we want to really like leverage that to get them to buy. People buy when they're emotional, especially like these are only, I wouldn't say these are like crazy purchases where they should need to like think and review. It's not like we're asking $10,000, we're asking for a couple $100 a month. So this is something that they should be able to like make that decision on the spot. So those are the main key points. So I can share all this with you. This is a little hard to read, but essentially with our sales process, with our sales team, we have a discovery phase. It's broken into a couple key points. Now, when I go into a sales call, on any call, the first two levels here are immediate pain and deep need. I don't move on to any of these other sections until we understand that, because if they don't have a deep need and if they don't have an immediate pain, they're not going to buy. Right? They can have pain. I hate the way I look. I can't fit in my clothes. But if they're not willing to change it, they're not going to buy from you. They're not going to buy from anybody. So for me, when I handle the sales calls, and this is for B2B, this is for B2C, this is for any sales process, if they don't have those two things, you can't advance forward. So these don't have to be in any order, but I like to focus on those two first, and that's what we train our sales team to focus on, and that's B2C and B2B, because if those two aren't met, we're wasting all this time on the call, and we could pretty much end the call in 5 minutes instead of spending 20 minutes on a phone call with somebody to find out, oh, well, I'm not really interested. It's not really worth me investing into. So as you guys know, calling these leads can take a lot of time, right? How many people you can make in a contact with in a day. If you can double that, you could essentially double up your conversions from that. So for you guys running multiple campaigns, multiple clinics, multiple locations throughout the country, volume, number of conversations is going to be very important, and we need to track all of that.
When we talked on last week, you said when a lead comes in, we got to reach them within 5 minutes. Now, sometimes that's not possible for us to do. So you have like a call center that can do that for us?
Yeah. So we provide that. So, I've been doing marketing for years now, specifically like this weight loss marketing for about 2 years. Come like October, November, I think 2022 was when I first heard of semaglutide. Kind of just fell in our lap, and we've tried everything. So what, we really focused, since we were a marketing agency, on the marketing. I want to have the best marketing. And no matter how good our marketing was, we were losing clients because they weren't converting the leads that they needed to. Most of these are, nurse ran, doctor ran clinics. They're not really business people. They've never taken a sales class in their life. And they think, oh, well, every patient that walks in my door, I convert, but why can't I convert your leads? Well, that patient that walked in your door is a referral, and also they're seeing you, they see a real business, they know who you are. It makes everything so much more legit versus some person, you've never heard of, some phone number you've never seen, you don't even remember the name of the company or anything, right? Now, converting that marketing lead is very hard to do. And as somebody who's done sales, I started selling when I was 10 years old, just mowing lawns, car washing services, whatever. Got my first professional sales job at the age of 18. I've been selling them now 33s for,
So credibility is a big
right.
trust
Yeah,
factor.
and incredible. And also like asking the right questions. So for me, it's like credibility is I would say almost less important than really getting them emotional in that call, because now we can talk with them, because what they do is, people make decisions out of emotion and people make decisions out of logic. And what's going to happen is most of these leads you call, they're going to be like, how much is it? Right? Well, now they're in control of the call, right? They're the ones that are saying, I'm in control. I'm going to make a decision based off of logic, and it's going to come down to price. So you guys tell me what that is. But if we can get them to a state, an emotional state in that call, and we can get them to feel all this pain, all this suffering that they walk around with every single day, or possibly for years, they've failed, they've tried diets, they've tried workouts, and now we can get them in this state. Now we can say, are you ready to change this situation? And they're like, yeah, I am. Okay, we can help you with that. But first, we have to get them to that state of pain and deep need. Now we can present a solution to them to help. So the other buckets create doubt, right? So part of the process, and I'm going to go over all of this. This is something that I like my sales team to kind of just have up as they're going through these calls. So we want to create doubt, right? What have you tried before? Well, why didn't it work? Whatever it is, right? I tried dieting, I've tried everything, nothing works. So what you've tried yourself, do you feel confident in your ability to get the result? No, right? We want to create that doubt, because now we can be that authority figure that we need to be to them, and then help them see the cost of inaction, right? A lot of these patients, like I'm sure you guys have heard, they're given a couple years left to live, right? They're morbidly obese. They're like, I want to be able to see my grandkids. I want to be able to see my kids walk down the aisle. And the doctor said, if I don't change my health, I'm not going to be able to live more than a few more years. So we need to help them see the cost of inaction, right? If you don't change this, like you only have a couple years left to live. Is that what you want? Situation. So this situation question, I think this is where a lot of people make the mistake. They really focus on, what are you doing? What are you eating? What have you tried? Really breaking down. We only need to know a couple things, like what have they tried? Why hasn't it worked? That's not something we really want to get caught up on. And then getting clear on the numbers, not as important, since this is a low ticket offer. And you guys offer financing?
Yeah, we have a payment plan.
Perfect. So not as important. The higher the ticket, as you start selling packages, higher tickets, like that stuff does matter a lot more. And then really helping them paint their desired goal, and then just vision and identity. These are the buckets that we pretty much need to check each of these off as we're going through this call with them. And we want to do all of this before we talk about price, who we are, what we do, and how we can help them. So sales tracker, this is going to be key. So since you guys are running multiple campaigns, I'll share this with you guys too. You guys are going to need to track each of these individually. So you'll have your Google campaign, all that will be fed into this. And then you'll have your Meta campaign, and any campaign that's separate, or I would probably have this per campaign per office too, if you guys are tracking it that way, because you need to see exactly what the problem is. Right now, you're seeing everything as a problem, right? But it might be one thing from one clinic, from one process that's off, but it's affecting all the numbers and we can't get clear on it. So you have to be very specific on those numbers. Now, one thing to point out here, so we have two columns. Generally, there's a 2-call close going on. For you guys, it's somebody calling the lead. That would be your SDR, your sales development representative. And then your closers, whoever's actually handling that, like pitching the offer, pitching the actual package. If it's one, you can track them individually. But for us, we're doing a 2-call close. For my agency, we do a 2-call close. Generally, somebody calls just to qualify them, make sure we're not scheduling them with that closer if they're not either financially qualified or ready to make a change within the timeline that we've determined as is acceptable. So with this, we're able to track everything. How many consults do we get? How many offers did we make? How many closes do we make? What's our call to close ratio, right? So we can literally see everything from, okay, we scheduled you, like if you're the closer, we got you 20 appointments last week. You only offered packages to 17 of them. And of those 17, you only closed 5%, right? Now we can see they have a close rate issue, right? That closer is not trained or not the right person to be pitching these offers. So when we look at all the data, we can literally analyze everything from, is it a creative issue, right? Are we not getting enough clicks? Maybe we're only getting a 0.5% click-through rate. And now our lead cost is $20 instead of $10, right? So we can look at all these numbers and really determine what the issue is, from the clicks to the amount of leads we get, to the amount of leads that book appointments, to the amount of leads that we actually make a phone call with. And then from those phone calls, how many of those do we schedule for consults? And of those consults, how many of those bought packages? And we can look at every single data point and see exactly what the issue is. Because what most clinics do is they're like, oh, I hired a marketing agency. I'm spending $3,000 a month on ads. I'm paying them $2,500. I'm spending a little over $5,000 a month. I'm not making that. The marketing doesn't work. And it's like, well, the marketing's working. You're getting leads, right? It'd be one thing if you didn't get any leads, but it'd be another thing if, you're getting leads and nobody's converting. It's like, okay, well, how is it that this clinic is running the same campaigns and they're converting, you're running the same campaigns, getting relatively the same costs, but you're not converting, right? So we have to look at all these data points and see exactly what the issue is.
Getting the people on the phone. Just
Right.
getting them to even answer the phone, getting any sort of response. We reach out over 3 different, avenues and
that
person
is
on the phone.
definitely one of the challenges across the board.
yeah.
That's where
makes
speed to lead is so important. What we say, like, this is going to be the single biggest impact of results is speed to lead. Now, if you guys are treating patients, if you guys are in the room doing other activities, that's going to hinder your chance of making calls. I'll give you an example. One of our new closers for our clients, we place closers in the clinics to call their leads. He didn't listen to me. I was like, dude, you need to call within 5 minutes. Wasn't calling within 5 minutes. I'm like looking at his stuff and I was like, look, you're spending all this time calling these old leads instead of dropping everything you're doing, calling these new leads. He switched one day. He 5 times his performance just from focusing on those new leads instead of calling all these old leads, because it's different than Google. That's why you really need to segment your Google versus Meta. You're getting a completely different customer from Google than you are from Facebook, right? Think of something like, if you've ever had back pain or looked anything up, a massage therapist, anything, right? You go to Google, you search massage therapist or back pain, weight loss, whatever it is. You're already looking for a solution to a problem that you're aware of and you want to change. With Facebook, TikTok, these are very top of funnel. Like, these are people that they might not even be aware of their problem, right? They're scrolling. They're not looking for you. They're not looking for this solution. They're looking to consume content from their friends. And we hit them with this disruptive ad. We get them emotional enough to stop and read the ad, to stop and put their information in the ad. And you have about a 5 to 20 minute window where that emotion is still relevant enough to them to have a very effective response from your efforts. After that, it drops off significantly. 90% of our conversions come within the first 20-minute window of making those. So everybody focuses on is putting all their effort on the 10% of leads that convert, which ends up consuming 100% of their effort, 100% of their resources, instead of focusing their effort, 90% of their effort on that 90% that's going to convert and make everybody's job much easier. Then those old leads, those are the ones that you can have somebody in the back just try to get people on the phone, right? Just try to reach out to them, have somebody just ripping leads all day. But those first 5 to 20 minute windows are key. And you'll notice a drastic improvement if you can hit those every time. So what we do with our team is we get a lead notification. The caller, they'll manage a couple accounts, and then they have to timestamp that time that they call. So the lead comes in, here's the lead. It's 2:37 right now, so they'll type in 2:37, and then now the sales manager is going to go in and look at every single lead that they've called and say, okay, like, why didn't you call these leads in the right time? Like, here's the issue here. You're not calling these leads within 5 minutes, as I saw with one of our new reps. Once they started calling it, now they're hitting literally 4 to 5 times every single day the performance that they were doing before, just from that one single thing, calling them immediately.
Great.
Any questions?
So how can we implement this and solve this issue?
Yeah, so one way, I mean, our team can definitely help with that. I came here just to kind of show you guys everything. I normally don't do this. I know you guys have a little bit more infrastructure than a lot of the clinics we work with. So whatever you guys decide to do, I didn't come here to sell you guys anything, just came here to provide value, hopefully earn your guys' business for long term. I live down the street from here, so I like to work with people that are in my neighborhood, and hopefully we can do a lot of business together.
What do you think, John?
Yeah, I'm very interested. I've been here a few weeks, and I think, one of my challenges has been getting meaningful data to make decisions with. And I do think our ability to effectively close leads right now, if I look at just the raw numbers, is unacceptable.
Yeah.
And we've got to find what points we're failing at and address those. I think you've come up with a lot of already, valuable information. Some of the information that you track, we have automated ways of recording. Some of it we don't.
Right.
So I think we would have to put some process around the closing activities that we don't have today. Especially the speed to lead. I can't really speak to that much, but
for patient acquisition, because it comes in on a spreadsheet, that's very easy for me to do, unless it's an off hours thing. We get an email and then it populates on the spreadsheet. So if I don't see the email, I'm looking at the spreadsheet. So either way, it's coming in, and we're getting on probably not 5 minutes on everyone, but I'd say within the first 15.
Right.
Unless it's off hours.
Right.
And then I usually will come in and work from the bottom up. So it's like the most recent leads.
And you're going to want to make note of that too, like in your guys' sales process, so then because obviously people are going to be off hours. People aren't going to work on weekends or at nights, so that's acceptable. You understand that's just part of the process, right? Some people are like, oh, well, should I not run ads around then? No, you need to run ads all times of the day, because you're building those impressions. The more you spend, the better all of this is going to get. The more impressions you're going to get on these people. You need on average about 10 impressions to drive an actual conversion, right? Whether that's they see your ad 10 times, they opt in 3 times, and get texted by you 4 times, and you call them a couple times. It takes a lot of impressions. I mean, you guys, I've spent just on my agency over $150,000 in ads in the last 18 months, and you guys just came in a few months ago and started working with us. So to put it in perspective, it does take time. So you want to continue spending, but you do need to make sure you're tracking that. And I think people underestimate sales. For service-based businesses, now e-commerce is very different, but for service-based businesses, I would say sales is going to 10x your marketing efforts, where the best marketing, the best automations, the best everything is going to probably like 1.5 to 2x what you're doing. And I've tested this. I've spent $50,000 out of my own pocket to run campaigns. I hired the best copywriters, the best creative strategists. These are high level people that literally cost me $10,000 a month to work with, and ran everything their high level way. And that marginally improved any of these efforts. And that was when I realized, like, okay, the issue isn't a marketing issue. You're getting leads, right? These are people who clicked on weight loss. They're interested in losing weight. You have a sales issue, right? So if you're not able to convert those leads, that's a sales problem, and you need to really diagnose that. And sales is, I think, one of the most underlooked, underappreciated parts of business. And it's this single thing that can really 10x like what you're doing. You can take a decent salesperson and you can put a really good salesperson in that pipeline, and you will see they will manage that lead list. They will make money out of that. Now, for you guys, it might not make sense, right? Like, that's one of the challenges, is how much money can a salesperson actually make here? You're going to be in that range of finding a good going on great salesperson. That's really what you guys are going to be able to get, and that's the ideal candidate for you. And you have to make sure you don't find people that this is their first sales job and they're just learning the process, and they're learning at your expense, right?
We also, I think we need help with creatives, and we need help with the influencers.
Yeah.
So that's the original way we reached out to you, is because we have ads going out, but we don't have any influencers creating content, and influencers just, promoting.
Yeah, I know the challenges with the influencers, we kind of were talking about that earlier. That's just, influencers are really great. They can build a lot of social proof, they can help create a lot of content, and they can even drive conversions. One of the challenges that we've seen more recently is a lot of these platforms have started even regulating some of these influencer posts, because as you guys know, these are regulated products, right? You have to have certain certifications, legit script. A year ago when Facebook, or it was end of June 2023, that they cracked down and said no more semaglutide, no more tirzepatide unless you get legit script certified. When that happened, it was like a gold mine for all of our clients, because they were doing influencer marketing, and that was like the way that all of this was getting out. It was still relatively newer. I don't think it had as mainstream success. Then these platforms started catching on in the last 3 to 4 months, and we've been seeing literally influencers accounts getting shut down. It's been harder for us to even find influencers now, because these influencers they hear this and they're like, I don't want to get my account shut down. I've spent all these years building these tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of followers. I don't want to post it. Now, that's not for all of them. TikTok has been the strictest on that. With Instagram, it's not as strict, but there are issues that have arose out of the market that have affected the performance of these. With the influencer post, though, when you gift an influencer or something, or it's generally called like a product seeding campaign, hey, I'm giving this to you in hopes that you're going to use it, and then talk about your experience with that, there's just going to be conversion issues. You're not always going to get those. So the easiest way to change that is getting them to pay, right? Hey, look, I'm going to pay you, I expect you to post, right? So once they post, they get the payment, and now they're actually incentivized to do that posting. So what we can do is, any of the ones that are having issues, I'd say let's just...
All of them, except for the two.
Yeah, so those two, those are good. We want to focus on those. We want to try to get as much content out of them as possible, because it's going to help with these conversions, right? When we're running all this content just as views and engagement, people are going to see these influencers, and it's going to humanize the experience, right? I think that's what people want. People want to buy from humans. People want to see results from other humans that have had that experience. And when a lot of these clinics, they're just popping up out of nowhere. Nobody's heard of them. Nobody's apparently even used them to the consumer's eyes. Why should I trust you? So these are all things that are going to help improve the overall marketing efforts. But still, I think the biggest thing is really how do we convert more of these leads that we're getting, right? If we can do that, everything else is eventually going to work out. With these influencer campaigns, they are longer term. We can filter in some new influencers, and I would say if you guys have even a small budget, some we're doing as little as $50 to $150 a post for some of the smaller influencers, and it's hey, look, every post will just pay you this amount, and that's kind of insurance on your medication, right?
Do you have a pool of influencers that we can select from? Because quality of influencer and who they're following is going to be a huge difference.
Yeah, with influencers, it really doesn't matter about the influencer at all. It matters with their audience.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
That's the only thing. You don't care about the influencer, you care about their audience, and that's what we're trying to get in front of. But we also are trying to generate good user-generated content from it too, that we can then fuel all of our marketing efforts. We can have before and afters on the website. We can have all these case studies. We can send these posts in these nurture sequences for our automations. Hey, check out this influencer who's on our treatment plans. Check out how much weight they lost in the first 6 weeks. We'd love to talk with you about how we can help you achieve these kinds of results too, right? So that really makes it very human, and it shows the proof. So we just want to really make sure we're incorporating that. But we can definitely present a list to you guys of some new influencers, what those ones will be, and then we can probably come up with a strategy I would recommend.
Yeah. So
I definitely think we need to get rid of the underperformers.
We want to vet them, because Dana, for example, she's very posh, and she's in that whole cosmetic surgery and all sorts of different things that you can do to improve your looks overall and your health and well-being. She's great. She's been great for us for a long time. And then we have a girl, Jasleen. She's a trans girl, so she's got the LGBTQ community. They love her. They trust her.
Yeah.
Out of the 43 leads I've gotten from her in 8 weeks, we've got 10 of them converted. So
so a little under 20%.
They trust her.
A little over 20%.
That's off one post.
Maybe it'd be good to put on our website, all the different influencers that are on.
Yeah.
Because, we have before and after photos and little testimonial videos. It would be good to have influencer videos too. So when people go to our website, they see, all these influencers are
100%.
behind this brand, this company.
I would have it on every page. So whether it's a landing page, whether it's a console booking page,
Yeah.
you're going to want that social proof. That's going to really increase that. But that's the nice thing about influencers, right? You get those leads and you're going to convert a much higher percentage.
Yeah.
It's just finding the right influencers. That's what's hard, and it takes time. But once you find those, you'll work with them for months, sometimes even years. I mean,
Yeah.
we have some clinics that have been working with the same influencers for like 18 months now, and they're just money printing machines.
Yeah.
They're content making machines. Those are the posts that they're using for their ads. They're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on ads to run those posts, and it can be very effective. It is just very challenging when you're starting to find those right ones.
Right.
Once you get through that, it can be very lucrative and can be very profitable long term, but those initial campaigns are challenging, right? And
Yeah.
it's just part of law of averages.
Yeah.
Well, if you can get a list or something, I'm happy to vet the
Yeah.
influencers and
Yeah,
see
we
which
can
ones I
do
think are a
that.
good fit.
We'll definitely do that.
I definitely think we need a shift in the influencers.
Mhm.
We need to leverage the two good ones we have. We need to jettison the ones that aren't working for us, and we need a new infusion
Yeah.
of influencers to vet and to start working with. I think that's pretty important.
Yeah.
I think we can incorporate some of that social in our landing page presence and website that we aren't today. I think
Yeah.
that's a step we can take in the right direction. The numbers that I'm starting to, we're early in the numbers. I want to be completely transparent
Yeah.
because 3 weeks ago we didn't have numbers,
Right.
basically.
Yeah.
So,
And I mean, that's most businesses. They're just
but we have some numbers we can make intelligent decisions with. This is just really an informed opinion based on the numbers I'm looking at right now. I think we could really use some help on the sales side.
Okay.
I'm not saying our people aren't working hard. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying just process improvements, technique
Right.
improvements, help finding out where our holes are. I'm not sure
Right.
I can actually identify them. What I can tell you is what the data shows, and that's the number of leads versus the number of closures. And in my opinion, that's unacceptable. So I think we can close more than we are. That remains to be seen, obviously. I don't think we're doing enough touches. I don't think we're doing them fast enough.
yeah.
And maybe potentially some other things. I don't want to sound critical of the team.
Yeah.
What I want to do is, with a positive attitude, find those holes in the things we can do better and get on it, because I think we can do better than we are.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Always room for improvement. I mean, that's one of our core values at patient acquisition, Kaizen, constant growth, constant improvement. And it's just always something you have to do in business, because if you don't, somebody else is going to, and they're going to put you out of business. And that's the reality. So you have to always improve. I think, what do you guys have your cost of acquisition? How many?
We do in pockets. I don't have it completely aggregated because we have so many disparate sources.
Okay.
It's currently a work in process.
Okay.
And for example, like Wildfire, we don't have the meta admin access, so we only have a certain amount of visibility.
Okay.
I can see the end result in the funnel,
Right.
but I can't correlate that to a dollar spend yet.
Okay.
We'll get there. But what I'm seeing, well, I guess what I can already tell you, like for a fact, what we're doing with third-party Wildfire and our ability to close it versus what we're doing organically through Prestige Marketing and our ability to close that. What that tells me is, if we're using the same sales process, it tells me we're able to generate a lot more relevant leads ourselves than through the third party.
Right.
Because it's basically the same ad, similar landing page, but our own effectiveness. And again, this is only over a short period of time. This is just the last maybe 6-8 weeks.
Right.
But the numbers are actually promising.
Right.
In a material way.
Right.
So part of my role here with Tony and Fred was to say, hey, let's take these underperforming dollars and put them into channels that look like they're performing much
Right.
better. And we just made that shift, so it's too early to tell. But another 3 or 4 weeks, we'll have better data to look at.
Yeah, I mean, always going to be the best, like running everything in-house. You're going to have complete control over it, complete autonomy. Marketing agencies are great because they have tons of data that you don't have. And generally, like when you're starting out, 0 to like probably around like 5 to 10 mil is it's better outsourcing, right? You don't have the infrastructure, the time, the skills. You don't have any